Proceeds to sick bay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
It is the way in which we propagate our species. Please demonstrate how this is accomplished. So, what's next? I don't know.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Trek, a Star Trek recap and ranking podcast. Or at least, normally we are. Today we're doing something a little different, as it's our 1 year anniversary. Yes, we here at Casual Trek have been checking out Star Trek for a year, which feels kind of slightly uncasual now at this point. You'd think we'd have given it up here.
And my name is Miles Reed Lobato. I am a writer, comedian, and it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to.
It is, and he will. I'm Charlie Etheridge, and my favourite thing is watching my friends cry. This has all been for this one purpose, Miles. This whole year.
Look, you know what? I'll take it over fucking cancer.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, my word. It's been some years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's where
it's felt like a year since you said, I want to do a Star Trek podcast, and I did what any good, self-respecting creative who has issues maintaining a schedule does, which is basically put 5 metaphorical pounds on the table and go, all right, fucker, prove it.
I feel quite pleased with that. I still have a few ideas for things like podcasts and such, and this is the first time someone's called me on it and said, right, do it. So fuck. Oh no, what do I do now?
I should have done it with your novel.
Yeah.
You should have done it with my novel.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Do you know what would make me? I was out with my wife Rihanna and some friends, and I had this great idea for like a service where you pay someone to go to a friend and basically shame them or like berate them and into completing the thing they've always said they will. And Rihanna's like, that generally doesn't help inspire people. I'm like, I am petty enough that it might work for me. Yeah. I just want someone to go, $20 says you can't write the novel. I'm like, money for old rope. Let's do this. And promptly give them $20 because I didn't write the novel.
Probably, but at least you'll have a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah, the momentum of spite.
Exactly. Spite's a very powerful thing.
The momentum of spite kind of sounds like a TOS episode.
It really does. Yeah, I admit with us, with Casual Trek, it feels like sometimes suggestions of categories and things to cover have been pretty much both of us tormenting the other in some sort of weird death pact.
Yeah. Although you still haven't been crazy enough to go with my idea for an all Enterprise episode.
Oh, well, I have some ideas.
Oh no.
Which might even cause there to be 1 or 2, 3 Enterprise episodes.
Oh god, are you going to have an Enterprise episode which is themed disappointing series endings to shows called Enterprise?
Could you do 3 with that?
No, just be the 2. Yeah. And then maybe just we've done the episode where it's meant to have taken place in TNG because it's apparently meant to be during the Pegasus.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently that's like the point in the canon when Riker's having a conflict of interest to which involves him having to watch the end of Enterprise for some reason.
Huh. That's weird.
Do you know which TV series has the best ending?
Okay.
Blake 7. # Blake's Boys.
So this is, as you might be able to tell, we have no notes. We are probably going to be fairly impenetrable, more so than usual, to the people that haven't experienced Casual Trek before. If this is your first episode, go away. This isn't for you. This is for people that have suffered enough. And go to the games one. We get all of the Nerd and Tie, or at least a number of the Nerd and Tie folks doing at the Alamarain song. Or go to episode 6 where Odo explodes and we lose our minds. There are so many better episodes than this. But here we're just going to have a bit of fun going over, what it's been like in this last year, and what we've experienced. And early on, we did a calibration episode where we were looking at our experiences with Star Trek and what we've seen of it. Because we both love Star Trek, but, as we say at the start, it's far from our first fandom. So actually dedicatedly watching it and covering it, and I guess over time becoming less casual as part of the arc of the show.
The thing I've noticed from like having to regularly watch Star Trek 3 times a week, once every fortnight, is how my executive dysfunction has executive dysfunction.
It's been impressive trying to schedule literally like 3 45 to 50-minute watching sessions.
Of television.
Yeah.
Like, God, like, I know people who can just sit down and just binge watch a TV show, like, in a couple of days. Like, sometimes when Rihanna, my wife, is at a low ebb, she would just get into like a zone where she'll either watch the whole of Gravity Falls or Steven Universe in the space of like a couple of days, or like once a year, she watches all the episodes of the anime series Slayers.
Yeah.
Which is 26, 25-minute episodes per season.
Mm-hmm.
A collection of movies and a collection of like OVA, like direct to video. And she does this over a space of 3 to 4 days, like once a year. It's not really a challenge anymore because she can do it. It's just more of a, she does it every year. And I'm like, man, sometimes I struggle to consistently watch shows I like. Like, I don't think I've watched classic Doctor Who in a couple of months. And there were times where, like, admittedly, before I moved to the States and got married, I spent like, I could spend like whole evenings just in my room watching Twin Peaks and Babylon 5, like one episode after another. And I just miss that because I can't even watch television.
I've found similar sort of things. I've realised where you were saying when Rihanna's at a low ebb, she'll watch Steven Universe and Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
Emma's equivalent is Hannibal, mainly.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows I want to get back to, season 3 of Hannibal, but enough time has passed where I'm kind of like, man, I kind of want to go back and rewatch Hannibal.
I mean, it is worth it.
Hang on, Hannibal the show,
yeah,
or Hannibal the really lackluster sequel to Silence of the Lambs, which notoriously changes the book's incredibly controversial ending.
Weirdly enough, it's for TV show.
The TV show.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can go on about. Okay, so I take it you've seen a significant amount of Hannibal.
I've seen all of it now.
Okay, is it me, or did they bring in Eddie Izzard to specifically do a rip-off of Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter to go, this is how that kind of character doesn't work, and it doesn't work in the show we've built?
It's one of the better Eddie Izzard acting things.
I've not seen much Eddie Izzard acting, like dramatic acting roles. I think they have a side role in Shadow of the Vampire, and then they're the disco-themed henchman in Mystery Men.
Yes.
Who has a fantastic line, disco is not dead, disco is life.
I think that's the best one. That's like the high point.
So I've not seen Eddie in much else, except in Hannibal, where a lot of bad things happen to them.
Oh, God. Now that, we had local elections around my neighborhood, and yeah,
Did the cat crowd come out and vote?
I mean, probably not. Like it's our first time being a Labour constituency instead of Green, but yeah, a weird one. But Labour called round, and who would be there? But yeah, Suzy Izzard,
Ah,
and it's like,
wow.
what? What are you doing here?
That's amazing.
Yeah, in retrospect, I realise I should have asked, what are you doing here, given Keir Starmer just throwing the LGBTQ crowd
Yeah.
to the wolves to try and court the right wing? But, just for startle.
Hey, Charlie,
Yeah,
this is the Star Trek podcast. There's no room for politics.
of course. Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, but Hannibal is one that is fairly regularly on rotation.
Okay.
Me, it used to be that I'd go through a marathon rewatch of things like Buffy, of Lost, of Alias, of Gilmore Girls, and there are some like Lost in Gilmore Girls that Emma will not see, and that's fair. You know, we all have our own tastes, and I know that Gilmore Girls and Lost are very acquired ones. But yeah, I don't know. Time seems to move far faster and more worryingly
Yeah.
as you get
Like,
older.
I want to rewatch Babylon 5 because it's been a while, but my mind is like, maybe you should watch Farscape first, a show you haven't actually finished.
You should. Farscape's really good.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take, after the last episode where we called out Sean, I'm now gonna call out friend of the show, Celeste. Celeste, watch more Babylon 5.
Celeste, it's alright, you don't have to.
Celeste, watch more Babylon 5, you magnificent fucker.
I like that we've got onto other science fiction shows than Star Trek now. It feels fitting. But yeah, Farscape was one where I didn't watch it for age. Sorry, I did watch that from the start. My friend Steve didn't watch it for ages because at one point, John Crichton gets vomit on his hands in order to use the DNA locks on a control.
Yeah.
And he kept going, vomit hands, and just shutting down any conversation.
I think you brought this up before on the show.
Possibly. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Be careful with these TV shows. It may look like something where someone gets vomit on their hand.
At least it's not Lexx, where it's a show where you're going to get other juices on your hands with Lexx.
I mean, in Lexx, that's a feature, not a bug.
That said, Lexx is amazing, and I really want Lexx to kind of get. You know how with quarantine, people of like the younger generations were discovering shows like Columbo,
yeah,
and Red. I want the younger generation to discover Lexx. Because I want like I want the puritanical left on Twitter who complain about sex scenes in movies to start like getting uppity about Lexx.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. That said, I love Lexx. Every so often, my ringtone is the Brun G fight song.
Oh wow!
Because I know when it's going to be my phone when the phone just goes. Yo veo umbare, yo re sharam brunanji, yo veo, because that's honestly it's somehow a surprisingly awesome fight song in this really pervy German-Canadian co-production.
Yeah, I can't say it's a good show.
But it's a show you never forget watching.
Oh, yeah. It's a show I watched about 4 seasons of. But yes.
It's like, yeah, this is Star Trek, but we admit the characters fuck. I think going to one of your questions, which, I saw earlier, about how my opinion on certain shows have changed.
Oh, yeah.
I always assumed that the characters of TNG were kind of like action figures and didn't fuck. Now I'm kind of like, oh no, they fucking.
Yeah. So yeah, on that note, there are questions that I have to pose us, as is often the way. And Miles, how have the shows changed in your eyes?
Well, the big thing has changed the shows is now I'm having to watch them and have subjective, objective opinions.
Mm.
I now actually have to put more effort into watching them because I'm like, where do I think this is gonna go on the list? How is it's not just I'm bored, I'm gonna watch Star Trek. Is now I have to watch Star Trek and make notes.
Yes, I would. I almost always second screen. It's a terrible habit, but if I have my free time, I'm probably playing on the Switch with something else on in the background. It's why, even though recently we've got a bunch of subtitled movies in, we've not really watched any of them because in the end, Emma and I will probably both be playing Tears for Kingdom,
What
and
what movies?
Zatoichi and the Vengeance Trilogy, of which I've only seen
Ooh.
Old Boy.
Oh, okay. Is that the Zatoichi film from the early Y2Ks with Beat Takeshi, or
That's
is
exactly it.
okay? I saw that at the Marina when it had a brief release
Hmm.
on UK screens, like in that wonderful period after Kill Bill and Crouching Tiger, when like Eastern Hong Kong martial arts samurai films had like kind of came back into vogue. And that one got like, I remember it was the Marina, and I got to see that film on the big screen. It was amazing.
Nice. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, this has been a very good effort in both active watching and, yeah, as you say, I need to know, okay, what is going on with this compared to how Star Trek was often consumed by me, which is as a thing that is just there. You
Yeah,
know, it's reliably just there. Even DS9 with its overarching storylines and its long plots, and aren't some of these things a bit tricky to deal with? And actually doing something like this means paying attention, as you say, taking notes, most of which are terribly written at the very least. And yeah, just in a way also that portion control where I'm watching an episode here and there and not just binging or not saying I'm going to binge this and then not doing it, not watching it at all, but going, okay, I am watching these. Like people that follow me on social media will know that I am reading an issue of X-Men a day and have been since August 2020, and it's been fascinating taking my time compared to the last time I did any kind of X-Men marathon where I binged a lot of it in a month and barely finished NaNoWriMo because that's what I was actually doing during my first ever NaNoWriMo, where I had the entire month off and I basically just read a lot of X-Men
wait, you
and I
took the
didn't take
entire
any of it in.
you took the entire month off
Hmm.
to do NaNoWriMo.
Yep.
That's cheating.
I passed by 584 words.
Like, look, as someone who had to do who has done NaNoWriMo, with jobs where there's a Christmas rush,
Yep.
you have never done NaNoWriMo until you've been writing words at 4 o'clock in the morning when you've just got home from work.
I've written words in the car on my phone. I've written words all over the place. But yeah, the first year of NaNoWriMo, I was owed so much time off that I was able to take an entire month, and I didn't know what I was doing and wasted it. And then, yeah, ever
Yeah.
since I've had a few days, and last year no days off
Mm-hmm.
at all, which fun. Um, as a writer, as well as a casual fan of Star Trek, has this evoked any want of writing anything spacey in you?
I generally write space opera and science fiction to begin with,
Ah,
so it's not as if it's
the
nothing.
same
It's
level.
pretty much the same, but now I'm more conscious of kind of what to really. I don't want to say avoid, but what pitfalls to not fall into.
Yeah, again, see episode 23 and the machine that kills a boy in order to make a sky city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Like. it also, I think when it comes to like, with Star Trek, because despite the fact I write science fiction and space opera, I really don't know much about actual science. But that's okay, because like I'm not writing hard science fiction. I'm basically writing space opera.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just, it's the technology of Star Trek, like the warp drives or okay, transporters keep me awake sometimes, because the whole being disintegrated and then reconstituted. So I'm like, are you a copy? Do you remember beaming?
Yeah, but the thing is, right? The thing about that, and I get it as a thought experiment. Oh yeah, we murder everyone and rebuild it. Yeah. Thing is, it's science fiction. They'll have figured it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. They'll have done something. It's like with the X-Men in Krakow and Resurrection. That is a clone. I saw someone posting on Facebook the other day about Sinister saying, "Oh, I could never actually clone Jean Grey. I could clone things that were similar to her," and going, "Oh, this means that her resurrection isn't right, and none of theirs is right." It's like, yeah, you've basically eliminated all of the X-Men if you go
Yeah.
down that line of arguing. The thing that is Jean Grey isn't the body in that respect in Krakoa, and with all of those kind of things. It's, again, wave for hand. It's fine.
It's
it
the
doesn't
same,
really exist.
It's the
fine.
same with the Peter Capaldi episode of Doctor Who. I can't remember if it's Heaven Sent or Hell Bent, where he's trapped in a castle, which is actually a Gallifreyan piece of equipment, and he's repeating the same thing over and over, and he basically dies, but then resets himself, and you're like, so this isn't the Doctor. This is a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of the Doctor that's been going for a few million years at this point to break down a wall.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you basically have to kind of wave your hands and use the MST3K mantra of repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax.
Yes. And there are some fun ones of those, like the idea of going, the Harry Kim at the end of Voyager isn't the Harry Kim at the start of Voyager, because apparently he dies and a parallel Harry Kim gets stuck here. Okay, fine. Does it mean anything? Fine. Not really. No. It's just a fun little tidbit, really. Speaking of which, have you, like we've said about any kind of fun surprises, and you mentioned about with TNG how these aren't just static action figures.
The characters actually, like, I think I remember the thing I said about TNG was like, it was the show where it's an average show being bumped up by a fantastic ensemble cast. And I admit, I kind of have to eat my words there, because I'm really enjoying it more than I thought I would.
See, I think I've got a similar thing, but with the original series, where I remember, God, years ago, there were complaints about how some of the remasters were shorter. And I was like, I've seen one episode and it was tediously long. I'm fine with them cutting out any of the dead wood. But I've been very much enjoying it. I think pretty early in Casual Trek, I realised I actually really like the mystical space bullshit that I hated as a child. Is that, no, keep magic in fantasy, keep science in science fiction. No, fuck it, wizards. There we go. Weird god things. Yes.
It's Clark's third law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that idea of the Ren Fair planets, and sure, some colonies are just going to go Wild West. Why not? Ancient Rome. Fuck it. We're beyond scarcity of want. We're setting up a new planet. We're just all weird LARPers. Why not make it?
Actually, they went on that in Taste of, I think it was Taste of Armageddon. No, it was Justice, when they talk about why people want to build colonies when you have everything you need. And it's like, yeah, they want the challenge of constructing something new.
And it's that thing of not everyone does, because you've got enough people doing other things in the Federation. But, God help us, a fantasy world of people being able to do what they want to do without need of survival, without going, yes, if I don't do this, I will lose a house kind of thing. A friend of mine, Alex, a dear friend who I argue with most times that we speak, but still we are very good friends despite that. He and I got into a big chat one of the last times we spoke about how, but if you don't have money, then why would you do any of it? And so, well, because you don't need it for a house, you don't need it
Yeah.
for food. Why do anything? Well, yeah, there may be people that do that, but that's, again, a lot of the reason people don't do anything or veg out is because they're drained because of the things they're doing. And, if you wanted to do anything, well, would you take up the piano? Go!
Yeah.
Learn! Spend years like excelling and getting better and better at it.
You know what I would do? One of the things I would do if I didn't have to work to help pay my half of the rent, to pay our taxes, to keep a roof over the heads of my wife, my book collection, and my cat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I would do in that free time, and still not be writing the damn novel? I'd be learning how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
I would probably be doing more community. I would probably be doing stand up more. I would probably do community theater.
Yeah.
I would suck, but hell, I would be doing community theater because it would be fun.
Yeah. Well, it's the same reason Cisco's dad has a restaurant and stuff like that. Well, people need to eat. Do you need money for it? No. Good.
No.
People are hungry, they come here. Oh, it's full. There'll be another restaurant. It's all right.
Honestly, when I used to work at Starbucks, I used to think if I was rich, it would just be nice to kind of run a cafe, not like a big chain, but just like a small cafe, which can seat like 40 to 50 people, because like it would be small, it would be nice, it would be like a local place, and that kind of atmosphere is lovely.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know service industries can be awful at times, and at the same time, there are points where I miss working in the comic shop.
Yeah.
I was very much priced out by a need for actual money rather than not really any money, but a good discount on comics. And admittedly, that's what I spent most of my money on at that point anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, if it wasn't tied to anything, that would be amazing. Like being able to spend some time going, I enjoyed playing around with trying to sort out my garden, but I'm never getting in there just between time, disability, lack of any skills or experience. But if you go, you can, we're not hindered by need for any of these things. Like, go at it.
The hustle and like speed of corporate like food service industry is horrendous. But like as bad as the job got before the job got unmanageable, like the nice parts were just like seeing a regular, actually making a connection with someone. Yes. I know it sounds like corporate buzzwords, but it was just actually kind of sometimes it's kind of nice to just have a quick chat with like a guy you just see like once every couple of days.
Yeah, well, my local comic shop is my old workplace, is where I kind of had my first ever job, and I still bump into old customers of mine. Some of the staff members were customers of mine back in the day, and it is lovely catching up with them. Admittedly, again, I'm on a clock because I've got a job and need to run off to that. It's
you got a job and a side hustle, and the side hustle has a side hustle.
Exactly.
Like, I hate that we live in a society when the passions that drive us are essentially relegated to side hustles.
Yeah,
it's like I have a joke which I'm always trying to refine in my set, which is how when you tell someone you're going to go to school to become an actor or a writer or whatever, and you get told, do you have a backup career plan just in case all your dreams fell through? I wonder if there's someone who, when they tell their parents, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to take up accounting and I'm going to become a banker, and their parents go, have you considered doing an art class or amateur dramatics so you maintain some basic connection to the human condition?
And that's where, God, even in Star Trek, even in TNG with Justice, seeing things like Jean-Luc Picard going, yeah, no, fuck the trolley problem.
Yeah.
Like going, no, numbers, that's not enough.
Like,
Going, oh no, it's cold logic. Oh, we've logicked our way out of this problem. No, fuck you. Love wins, as Star Trek the Motion Picture shows us, as so many of these things have shown us, like empathy and love and understanding and exploration. Like, what was it? Service, sacrifice, compassion, and love was Pike's mantra. I was like, oh, that's fucking good. Oh, you've got me, you bastard.
Like, I kind of love, like, the characters are, like, even in TNG, when I always feel like the characters are at their most up their own ass in terms of their ideology, they do have, like Riker, they have personalities. Like, it's there. Like, you know, the great thing about TOS is that you can kind of imagine just going to the pub with these characters. Like, you can imagine going to the pub with Kirk or Spock or Uhura. It might be kind of weird, and after a while, you might have to drag out Bones from under the table because he's drunk himself there.
God,
but, you know, you can imagine
obliterated drinking with Bones and Scotty. Like,
yeah,
that would kill a man.
Yeah, and you can just imagine, like, Spock is definitely not a big boisterous bar guy, but Spock is the kind of guy you definitely hang out with one drink in a really small out of the way corner pub and just chat to you for a couple of hours.
I've had on my birthday many years ago, I ended up at a squat party off of the London Road Hellmouth, and there was a guy who we ended up, like, I got into the secret stash of whiskey that was there because it was my birthday. So one of the people there was like, go on then, let's drink some of this. And talking about, like, Cole Popper and Metal Gear Solid and Hideo Kojima and all these things, it's like, yeah, you would have that intense conversation at 6 a.m. With the Spock type. But I mean, to be honest, the more you see of the TNG people, it's like, yes, it's a slightly more stuffy, slightly more formalized world, but there is interiority in them, and it obviously grows. Like season 7 versions of the cast compared to season 1, where we, seeing them in Genesis and in the one where Ensign Rowe is kind of a protagonist and everyone else is the enemy, versus how they were in season 1 with Justice. There's so much understanding of those roles. There.
The thing I've noticed from Voyager is that my disappointment of Voyager's unrealized potential is less about the characters and more the setting of the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
Because so much of, like, what we see in the first episode of Delta Quadrant feels like it's almost kind of going for a post-apocalyptic, like, societal collapse. And they really don't do much with it. Like, you have the Kazons who are like scavenger Klingons. But apart from them, it's just like, yep, and here is nice weird planet number 423.
Yeah, the same as those ones over in the Alpha Quadrant, but Delta Quadrant now. I get that they're traveling, so they're not just going to be in the same bit of space. But yeah, it feels like space could be weirder, and the plight of being half a crew of like freedom fighters who abandoned the Federation and half an understaffed Federation crew could have been more interesting than it has been so far. And I admit we've been a little remiss with some of that. Like, we caught up a little with Tuvix. I think we're looking at our list at the moment. Of all things, Strange New Worlds is the one we've done the most of at 25%, because there's so little of it.
Yep.
And, we're in double figures with Lower Decks, the original series and the animated series. And Voyager is only ahead of Enterprise. And DS9, weirdly.
Huh.
Yeah.
I thought we'd done far more episodes of DS9.
Same. I guess there are tons of two-parters.
That
So,
might be it.
yeah. But yeah, we will get to them. Don't you worry. But
it's the same problem with Enterprise. You kind of want it to be to be a bit weirder.
well, recently, because I don't know enough about Enterprise compared to some of the others, I've been writing tiny synopses of things I think they're about on our big sheet, and I want to see a bunch of them. And that's something which I'm pleased. Like, there are some which sound a bit middling or a bit kind of, they're just bridging one episode to another, but there are some odd ideas and there are some very Star Trek ideas. So hopefully, like, my hope for the coming year in Casual Trek is that I see some any Enterprise that I like, and that there's some Voyager that I've never seen before.
I think we've had one good episode of Enterprise
Mm.
with the Andorian.
Oh, it was so good. I really liked. Like, it's not high on our list because it's just a good Star Trek, but it shows proof of concept. It shows they can do a good Star Trek.
Like, I really want to see some more bad episode. I kind of want to see a bad episode of TOS or TNG.
Yeah.
I want to see something. I want to see something appalling because I kind of worried that we're gonna go too top heavy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm curious to see what bottom shooters there are. And I'm just hoping there are some fun ones out of it where it's like, this is bad. Everything about it is bad, but it is nice and fun to chat about.
It's bad, but let's enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Barclay's a spider again.
Yeah. So back to our kind of catch up and our questions of how things have gone. I want to see if I can do a quick word association style thing with you, where
Okay.
I want first response, top of your head, with each for shows. Who is your current, as from what we've seen so far, favorite characters from any of them? So original and animated series.
Bones.
TNG.
Riker.
DS9.
How much O'Brien? Miles O'Brien.
Hey. Voyager.
Pass.
Fair. Okay. Enterprise.
Porthos.
Yeah. Lower Decks.
Shax.
Discovery.
Oh, fuck. Saru.
And Strange New Worlds.
Ortegas.
Okay. Cool. I didn't realize that with Ortegas. Like, she's been good fun. But yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's do this with you. All right. TNG.
LaForge. Like, it's difficult. I was going to say Riker because I love his idiot shock energy, but I've always been a fan of LaForge.
All right. Okay. Strange New Worlds.
Alan.
Picard.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about Picard. Oh, no. No one. No,
Worf.
fuck. Shaw.
Sure. Yes, of course.
Captain Shaw. The best captain.
I might have to go with New Worf for that one.
New Worf was very good fun.
Prodigy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I made a list and I forgot both of those. That's terrible of me. Zero's been kind of fun. I want to see more of the George Costanza Tellarite. No, Jankum Pog. Jankum Pog. Best character.
All
Love
right.
Jankum Pog.
DS9.
Bashir.
TOS.
God, it's probably going to be Kirk. I'm surprised that I've liked him as much as I had. Like, a few episodes ago, you mentioned how every impression of Kirk and a lot of people acting as Kirk have been doing like bad impressions of William Shatner, and I braced myself for that, and he's not been that.
No, because I think like William Shatner, I think is like Leslie Nielsen. Like Leslie Nielsen works in like Airplane and like Police Squad because Leslie Nielsen's not in on the joke.
Yes.
Then you get to films like Police Squad and like Leslie Nielsen's latest ones where he's in on the joke and he's not as funny, because the funny thing about Leslie Nielsen in a comedy film is that he's the straight-laced actor.
It's how deadpan he is in Airplane, in Police Squad, less so in, say, Dracula Dead and Loving It.
But yeah, I think like Shatner is definitely a very theatrical actor, but we've yet to reach a point where he hits prime ham.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if that's just going to be the films or it will be the latter seasons of the originals as well.
Right. Okay, I'm just going to continue the word association game.
Oh god, yes.
Okay, DS9.
I've said it, Bashir.
Doctor Who.
I mean, like, the Master's always fun. The Master always seems to be enjoying him or herself, depending on the incarnation. Yeah.
All right, Voyager.
Probably Janeway now. Like, I was going to say the Doctor. I normally say the Doctor, but Janeway as the gives no fucks captain is like, she's obviously pissed off at everything, and yeah, is very good at it.
All right, Silver Age X-Men.
The sad thing is probably Beast. Like, Roy the boy, did a good job with Hank McCoy in that era. Like, he and Bobby just ruled that run, that bit, the moment that Stan and Jack left.
All right, and the final one for the prize to take it all home.
Mm-hmm.
Lower Decks.
Ooh, it's... How could I forget his name? That's terrible. You'd think I'd have learned all the cast's names by now.
What is his character trait?
Cyborg Guy.
Rutherford.
Yeah, Rutherford. There it was.
There we go.
Oh
all right.
My god, I was looking at some really cool Clone High style fan art of them all earlier today.
There's one I forgot.
Go on.
Disco.
Yes, Saru. Like, Tilly's great, but Saru.
Yeah.
Doug Jones is amazing.
Yep.
Like, get Doug Jones in all of the things. As a person, as a weird guy, he's amazing at it.
I want to see a romantic comedy where Doug Jones plays the male lead.
Yes.
It's like all those weird kind of character. Like, I would like to see like a generic kind of 80s Meg Ryan romantic comedy, but like Steve Buscemi is in like the charming romantic male lead part. Like When Harry Met Sally with Steve Buscemi.
With, just a weird, slightly slimy guy.
Yeah, you've got Mail with John Malkovich.
Oh, dear. Yeah, he'd be great fun in that. Yeah, okay. Speaking of which, actually, with these with the word association, who's your favourite Prodigy character?
Jank and Pog.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Jank and Pog. Yeah, and as you said, it's Worf 2.0 for Picard.
New Worf.
Oh, same great scowl. Brand new flavour.
Great, same old scowl, tastes like chamomile tea.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I think one of my favorite parts of Picard was in episode 10 when Worf says the line, "I will make it a threesome," and Riker's like, "Do you even listen to yourself?" Like Riker and I loved Riker and Worf in season 3 of Picard, just giving mostly Riker giving Worf shit.
Oh god, yeah. Worf set up a lot of that. He was very good.
And Swords of Fun, you can tell that Worf plays D&D because he Swords of Fun, he's sticking with his he's sticking with his preferred weapon,
with his weird exotic blade. Yes. Okay. Next question, Mars. In the last year, since we started this experiment, what is the least casual Star Trek thing that you've done?
I think it's I've started becoming a regular buyer of the IDW comics with the current, like, they did the relaunch with the Star Trek title and then the spin-off title Defiant.
Yes, I really want to read them, but I decided a while ago to wait for the trade, and the bastards haven't released it even
Yeah.
now.
It's been good. Like, they've mixed up the characters. So you've got Cisco, Data, Beverly Crusher, Tom Paris, Worf, Jake Sisko, and then also, like, later on, around about issue 7 of the Star Trek title, they then bring in Shax, who is being drawn and treated as a serious character, but it's still Shax, the muscles from Bajor, Cardassian murder machine. He's essentially kind of Brock Sampson.
Yeah,
From the Venture Brothers.
fantastic.
And then you have the Defiant, which has Worf, Old Spock, B'Elanna Torres, Ro Laren, and Law's severed head. On a renegade kind of Black Ops team on Defiant, and it's been really fascinating to because the characters okay, it's incredibly fanficky because it's let's have Worf and Spock have to team up for the greater good.
Yeah.
And it really works. And so and then you have Spock and Law having to kind of outsmart each other.
Wow.
It's they've been fun.
It sounds like some interesting takes on Star Trek. Yeah, when the graphic novel collection of it comes out, we're going to have to record some bonus content about it.
They're fun comics. They, unlike a lot of Star Trek comics, they're basically kind of doing their own thing and telling their own stories and trying to have actual weight and not just this is a fun episode we never saw.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Previous companies have done either these are just other episodes of the week, or Wildstorm did some tie-ins to the Voyager video game at one point, drawn oddly enough by one of the artists of Legion of Superheroes.
Oh.
Yeah, it was odd. And then you had Marvel's stab at doing brand new original stuff like Starfleet Academy, with a kind of giant Andorian Fairchild style kind of protagonist. And actually they did early Voyages, which I quite liked, which was Pike and that lot, which obviously is very much not canon. But
they did. So, I remember DC did a bunch which take place between the movies. But it's quite. I remember it being quite funny because the comic continues on from Wrath of Khan, as in the Enterprise goes on more adventures with Savick in the Spock role, and they're having to come to terms with Spock's death. But then Star Trek 3 goes, we're gonna take place right after Star Trek 2, so the comic has to go quick. Let's really badly battle damage the ship to kind of get it into.
Yeah.
Then they continue on from Star Trek 3, and it's they have adventures, Spock's fine. And it's oh, wait, no, Star Trek, and the whole mutiny stuff, sorted. Then Star Trek 4 is nope, we're going to take place straight after Star Trek 3. And so right, Spock's ill again, we're nicking the same Klingon ship, and we're going on the run again.
It must be so frustrating as a writer doing that so close to it all happening. The closest thing that comes to mind of that is how frustrating it must be for Steve Rogers, the cartoonist in the Marvel 616 universe, making comics about superheroes like Captain America, and then something terrible happens, like he hangs up the costume again and wanders off, or some massive status quo change, and he has to suddenly get rid of any of his fictional versions of his adventures as Captain America. So, oh fuck, right, okay, US agent's doing this, and he will not draw this comic. But yeah, see,
Steve Rogers, the writer artist of the hit comic Nomad.
oh yeah, that did not sell well. Yeah, for me, I think my least casual Trek thing that I've done, I've resisted things like, stupidly now, I resisted watching all of Prodigy because I figured actually that feels a little less casual Trek to just binge it as much of it as possible. I avoided buying a tiny keyring tricorder, which I regret now, and yeah, I guess is actively hunting down the comics, the Star Trek comics that were written by one Christopher S. Claremont.
On my list of least casual things I want to do, I'm thinking of picking up Star Trek Resurgence, the video game, for round about my birthday, and I want to lose sufficient enough weight so I can get one of my cosplayer friends to make me the scant.
Oh, nice.
Because I am directly Scottish on my birth father's side, and it's like, you know what? I'm nearly 40. I have no shame anymore. I'm either going to wear a kilt or a scant.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, if someone can help build you a scant, why not?
Yeah.
Excellent. That feels very uncasual Trek, but
Yeah.
I always figured this mission that we were going to partake in wouldn't necessarily be that we're always going to be kind of fairly casual Star Trek people, but almost the becoming of going, okay, we actually know about this thing, to like have opinions on Enterprise.
Yeah, we might have to start like rivalries with other Star Trek podcasts.
Oh, that'd be great.
We might have to go Grant Morrison and Mark Millar with other Star Trek podcasts and become enfants terribles.
Oh no. Problem is, almost all of the Star Trek podcasts that aren't ours seem to be hosted by actors from Star Trek. So yeah, that's going to be a bit difficult.
That's true. Okay. I have some questions for you.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Charlie, why do you hate Blake 7?
I just don't care about it. Like, I found the kind of people that were incredibly passionate about it had a level of niche intensity that put some Doctor Who fans that I knew to shame. And...
Okay, Legion of Superheroes fan. Look at me! I'm radical. I'm a bad boy. I like the Legion of Superheroes.
Hey, I know it's not good. I'm fine with that. I don't know. I came to a lot of British nerd things fairly late. I didn't see any Doctor Who properly until the new stuff, and even that was Matt Smith. And yeah, for some reason we just never clicked with it. So I don't have that place of nostalgia, and yeah, just didn't bother. Okay. And also, it gets to you, so, or at least I hope it does. So,
okay, next question.
Yeah.
Best, worst Legion reboot.
Best, worst Legion reboot. It's probably going to be the Mark Waid reboot. So, Mark Waid's second rebooting of the Legion of Superheroes, where it's not a superhero team, it's a bunch of fans of superheroes who have powers and whose membership includes every kid in this utopian future who wants to rebel a bit, who wants to actually do proper solving of problems instead of letting, algorithm computers and science police dryly deal with anything. It was very silly. It was good fun. It ended up being Superboy Prime's future.
Oh.
Weirdly, the Earth where there weren't any superheroes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then in the far future, because they read comics, and in that universe, a comic is a method of communicating with other worlds, much like Grant Morrison's The Multiversity. But yeah, it was good fun, and they brought Matter Eater Lad back, which will always win me over.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Which is your favorite one of Chris Claremont's obvious sexual fetishes?
I'd rather not answer. It was a very formative comic to be reading as a teenager. It's a very strange man, that Christopher S. Claremont.
Right.
And yeah, I swear he invents them. Like,
yeah.
he will find brand new ones just because he's got bored and distracted.
Chris Claremont is the anthropomorphic personification of Rule 34.
Yeah. It'd be fascinating to clone a young Chris Claremont and have him grow up with the internet. Problem is, would he just never leave like AO3 and stuff?
Oh, who knows? All right, last question. Karate Kid, yay or nay?
Yeah, it's all right.
No, I mean the Legion of Superhero member.
Oh, the Legion of Superhero member. No, I don't care for him.
No,
he's fine, but he's one of the less interesting of the Jim Shooter era kind of ones, and didn't warrant a 14-issue miniseries, well, maxi series, and of course he was made even worse by being a big feature in the series Countdown.
We don't talk about Countdown.
We try not to talk about Countdown. It's a very bad memory. Yeah, basically, the comics just go 52 and then Final Crisis. Ignore everything in between.
Yep. All right. Okay. So, last question: What do you hope for in the coming year of Casual Trek?
Oh, I mean, I have said I want to watch an episode of Enterprise that I enjoy.
Yeah,
like that I really want to do. We've got some fun plans with some bonus content, including possibly a little bit of casual tech, which yeah, we'll see how that goes. And I kind of want to see some of the modern shows do some weird space bullshit.
Yep, I can agree with that.
You know, I want to see them having fun with some wacky space hijinks.
I definitely want to see some really bad episodes of TOS and TNG, if only to kind of even out the list a little bit.
Yeah. Anything beyond that? Any kind of particular themes or ideas that you want to play around with?
Oh God, you put me in the spot. Is Patrick Stewart truly the sexiest man of all time?
See, as far as themes, I was struggling to come up with a musical episode, and I've been hearing hints that there may even be attempts at doing something like that in Strange New Worlds. So, if they do that, we are 100% doing a musical episode.
I think, I can't wait for the Short Trips episode.
Yes, I need to get a copy of those because those are not on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
They're
not on UK.
Yeah, well, so Paramount Plus took away Prodigy recently. They never had Lower Decks over here. That's been Amazon Prime.
Right.
And Nowhere has the Short Treks. So I'm just going to have to find a physical copy somewhere because they did get a physical release.
That's stupid. And I would like to do some episodes on some of the many Star Trek video games.
Yes. Similarly, I'd be quite entertained by doing one about the varied board games and role-playing games. The problem with that is I have owned the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game by Modiphius since we started, and I have not read it.
Right.
So one day I'll read it, and then I'll talk about role-playing.
We'll definitely need to we'll definitely need some more victims to do Star Trek Adventures.
Oh my God, yes.
To do casual adventures.
Well, or even something like Lasers and Feelings, which feels like it might be a good one for a podcast style actual play. But yeah, I'm sure we will have some fun volunteers for that.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. And the main thing I wish for is that we keep doing the podcast, because it's always fun to do this shit with you.
Yeah, I think that's where ultimately my favorite thing in this podcast has been our friendship, which it's got, oceans between us.
Yeah.
And we spent years being in the same writing group, which would dwindle away every year after NaNoWriMo to basically us two and some baristas who were torn between we're writers or programmers. And yeah, we used to talk just endlessly about this shit, and now we have a very fun excuse to.
Yep.
So yeah.
But no, I think on that note, we are going to go, because it is 86 degrees Fahrenheit where I am, and I am rapidly becoming a gigantic sweat gland.
Yeah. That sounds like a very Star Trek thing.
That sounds like a TNG episode. Actually, you know what? I know what I want to watch. I want in the next year.
Mm.
I want to watch Threshold.
Oh my god!
And I think we need to devote an entire episode to Threshold.
I was originally thinking our anniversary episode should just be Threshold, but yeah, we'll find a special place for Threshold. God, I've had one or two people talking about guest starring on here, and it may have to be.
Yeah, we definitely think for either Threshold or Spock. Like, I think Spock's Brain might also be one which is its own episode.
Well, there we go. There we've got some fun things to promise for you lot.
See, the real challenge will be trying to get the members of the band Spock's Brain to appear on the show.
Wow. I didn't even realize there was a band.
There was like I think it's like a post-punk band. Hang on.
What is nice. While Miles is having a look at that, I will of course remind you, in our kind of fairly casual, not really having any.
Give us money, you bastards.
That please.
Oh wait, no, it's not Spock's Brain. It's Spock's beard.
I mean,
it is Spock's beard because we discussed this in the Mirror episode. I remember now. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Spock's beard discussing Spock's brain could work. Anyway, please pay us some money over on the Casual Trek Ko-fi, and rate us anywhere, not based on this episode, but based on the other better episodes. And you can find us at Casual Trek Pod on Twitter and hopefully elsewhere one day. But until then, I've been Charlie. That has been Miles. Yeah. Oh no, he's mutated. He's a giant sweat clan now. Right. Oh god, I'm gonna have to kill him, my co-host, with a rock.
Kill me. Kill me. Live long and have a jelly baby.
You've been listening to Casual Trek by Charlie Etheridge Nunn and Miles Reed-Lobato. Music by Alfred Etheridge Nunn. Casual Trek's part of the Nerd and Tie network, and if you want to support us monetarily, because you love what we do that much, you can now do that by going to Ko-fi and looking up Casual Trek. There's a link in the show notes.